In terms of an assessment, our focus of effort is on three broad areas. One is ensuring the delivery of unfettered humanitarian assistance to all Ethiopians in need. Of course, there's been a tremendous focus on Tigray, and you asked about it. And we have seen some progress since the humanitarian truce was achieved in March, but there still continues to be a sustained effort to try to improve. And just this past weekend, we're hearing that some issues relating to fuel that needs to arrive in order to allow humanitarian trucks to move on from Mekele to other areas is being resolved. Secondly, in the broad category of efforts of what we're trying to push forward with the Ethiopian government is to ensure that there is accountability for the gross human rights violations that have occurred. And as you probably know, the International Commission of Human Rights Experts actually did arrive in Addis on the 25th of July. I think the talks on the modalities of their mandate and how they're going to carry it out are ongoing. They had, I think, a productive week, but I'll let them categorize it. Our emphasis is to ensure that they're given the access to travel inside of Ethiopia to affected areas to conduct a credible investigation.
But just to be clear, they haven't had that access yet to these sites of alleged violations of human rights.
That is correct. They have not been able to travel in country as of Friday morning when I met them. And so that is urgent. And we are urging, of course, the Ethiopian government to ensure that they're granted that access so that they can conduct a credible investigation.
And are you making progress on that?
We see that there was at least progress in that the government invited them to come to Addis and have a discussion about their scope of work and their mandate under the UN Security Council resolution. And so now we're just anxiously waiting to request it.
Anxiously waiting or actually putting pressure on the government to allow them to do that?
We are, and I have had discussions directly with the government on the urgent need. It's not only myself, but other colleagues in the international community. We had a briefing from the Ethiopian National Security Advisor, Ambassador Redwan, and we certainly urge that the International Commission on Human Rights Experts be granted access. So I will continue to press during my stay here.
And are you optimistic?
Yes, let's just say that I think that the Ethiopian government fully understands the need for the experts to have an opportunity to travel to the affected areas and do their investigation.
Can I ask about the scope of your work? You are the envoy to the Horn of Africa. You're the third in less than 2 years since the role was created by the Biden administration. And some people might look at that and say it sends not a great signal about America's commitment.
Right. Well, let's look at it this way. The Biden administration actually created the position for having a special envoy for the Horn of Africa. It shows the very keen interest the United States has on working with our partners in the region to try to promote peace, stability, and prosperity. And I just happened to be the third one because my prior two colleagues had personal reasons for why they couldn't continue in their role.
But you can see the optics of that, can't you? Looking not great.
Well, look, the optics may be one thing, but the reality is that the United States is actively engaged, both with my colleagues, and now here I am at the end of the first week of me being on the job. In fact, even before I took the job, I had already done a visit to Ethiopia. But don't be concerned that I happen to be the third one. My two former colleagues were, longtime, extremely able professional diplomats. I hope to be able to help advance this process, working with many others in the Biden administration. Our ambassador here, Tracy Jacobson, and her team are working on this every day, as is Washington, to the highest levels from the president on down. There's a focus on Ethiopia, on the Horn, and again, to working to resolve some of these very difficult issues.
And of course,
including the issues relating to the drought and food security.
Yes, well, of course, money is important, and America is the biggest donor to Ethiopia, of course. And many would look at that and say, doesn't that give you perhaps the leverage to do more, to force the two sides to the table, to force the government to allow those Commission of Human Rights officials to get access to the areas where alleged atrocities have been
it's pretty
committed?
clear that we have taken some measures like the suspension of the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act that is a clear signal of the need for the Ethiopian government to take certain steps and make progress in these three areas if they want to see the resumption of economic assistance. $7 billion as a whole
yes,
in Africa.
The drought is obviously a huge issue for the region, but it's made worse, of course, by the war in Ukraine, isn't it? And your visit follows on the heels of that of the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Ethiopia is looking at hosting this Russia-Africa summit in October, and you have a US-Africa summit in December, but many people have looked at the Lavrov visit and said, look, the Russians have stolen a march on America in Africa. You laugh. Why?
Well, let's be serious about who's doing what in Africa in terms of what the United States is doing and partnering and helping address whether it's issues of health during COVID or historically in combating HIV/AIDS, or whether you're talking now and addressing concerns about drought or food insecurity. And I think our African partners can very well realize that Russia's invasion of Ukraine is exacerbating their food security situation, and that the way forward needs to be that Russia ends its invasion and aggression against Ukraine and allow, of course, for the exports of grain and other key necessities to flow.
Whatever the reality is, on the optics front, Russia seems to be doing rather well, doesn't it, in Africa?
Yeah, I'll leave it to others to judge, how well the Russians are doing in Africa. In my conversations, and, I just ended a tour in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and I can assure you that there's a lot of interest in wanting to partner with the United States of America on addressing the core issues and problems and challenges that the continent faces.